All right, people, Facebook family, and all those who follow me. Let me start with the singing bowl. I have Oshun with me tonight before I do my singing bowl. I have Oshun with me tonight. I have made a, hold on, let me see. I have Oshun over here. We got the altar together. I had to bring her in too, Hey, Ray! I had to bring her into my zone tonight because we are going to dance in the dark. Let me turn down my music real quick. Sorry, y'all. All right. So, dancing in the dark. Let me do my singing bowl so we can get our chakras aligned. Uh-oh. Try it again. Hi, everyone coming in. So, what I wanted to talk about tonight is dancing in our darknesses, dancing in knowing who we are. I have Oshun in my presence tonight to help, get what I wanted to get out and across. I woke up feeling, in a little bit of a low space this morning, but after I, spoke with Oshun and got my mind right and aligned and got my, warrior spirit in, I realized that she wanted me to express a certain story or express this love of self that I've gained over the time. Peace, Johnny. To express myself to better help somebody else and heal. I'm going to do things up a little different tonight. I have a journal. I feel that it is important to keep a journal, right? So this is my journal right here, and I'll be like, writing all my thoughts in here, y'all. Y'all see all that? Just writing away. So there was, I did some writing today, and I wanted to read what I wrote, and then, do a poem from my book. This is my book right here, y'all. Affairs of the Heart. Y'all can get it on Lulu. But there's a poem out of here that I want to also read, and I wanted to discuss in further detail that, that darkness that we got to deal with, and things that we, peace and prosperity, Temple. Hey, sure. But to talk about, these hidden darknesses and things that we don't really take into account. Like, you can't heal yourself unless you know what to heal. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, let's jump on into my journal. I'm going to read it, so y'all got to be patient with me, to hear what I'm saying and going on, right? So, I had a dream last night that I was in what seemed to be in my house. There was letters on my door, and somehow I ended up in an unknown house and was touring the house with a comforting male presence. As I make sense of everything, I begin to place the pieces together. Finding myself in an unknown house is symbolically is symbolizing going through changes and not recognizing new aspects of myself that are beginning to emerge. Repressed memories, fears, or emotions that I'm not acknowledging or dealing with. So this dream that I was having, I was in this house, and there was two houses. The first house was a familiar presence of a house. You know what I'm saying? Your dreams bring visions and your ancestors talking to you through dreams. So the unfamiliar house was this house where there's something that I need to recognize or a new aspect of myself. Whereas the familiar house, the house that I knew about, this was the house that I portrayed to everybody else, my past me. Because your house represents your sense of self. So, yes, hi Chris. So with that being said, I'm not acknowledging or dealing with certain pains and traumas. In turn, causing me to be tense and can't relax. I've been wondering why I can't feel, that relaxation. Why in some moments, I'm on top of the world, and then some moments it's like you're tense, you can't get relaxed, you got too many thoughts going on in your mind, you just want everything to be still. My fiance sent me this video by Phil Valentine talking about meditation and how we always got to be distracted by something. We're listening to the TV, or we're listening to music, or we're listening to all these different things that are distracting our minds, which is why our minds don't know how to be still. So with that, I had to learn to calm down. I had the TV on earlier, then I was like, you know what? Let me cut that off. Let me just sit in the dark for a minute. Let me gather my thoughts for a minute. Let's see what's really the problem. Phil Valentine talks about how it takes a process to get in the dark. It takes a process to fall and hit that rock bottom. So it's going to take the same process and time to get yourself back out of it and get into that light. He talks about how the reason why we keep repeating the same circle of tension is because we are attaching ourselves to the pain, versus if I am being the person on the outside of me. You have to step outside of yourself. That's what meditation is for. To step out of yourself, to become still enough to see what it is that, hurt you. What is it that you're stuck on? What is it that you can't get over? To observe yourself, being that outside person looking in on yourself, you can see a different perspective of yourself without being attached to the pain. For instance, sometimes somebody cheats on you or whatever. If you wasn't attached to that person cheating on you, you actually thought logically outside of that attachment and observed how you acted because of that, instead of instead of falling into your lower chakras, let me be mature minded about this, and let me see how naturally people have animalistic ways. Naturally people have other things going on in their mind. Naturally, this is just what it happens. It doesn't mean that you should take it as something personal to you. As beings, as spirits living and walking in human bodies, we have to learn how to separate our spirit minds from these physical traumas, things like, being cheated on. That really is just a piece of nothing, because that has no matter. It shows like you can overcome that. You move on to someone who loves you for you. I realized when I was writing that I was drawing to me people that was as broken as me. And if it wasn't for me healing myself and me falling into myself and me getting into that place of, let me observe why it was I got here, why it was that I feel the way that I feel, that is what brought me out of my darkness. By dancing with the darkness instead of fearing it. Because a lot of people put their BS and their traumas and their bullshit in a little corner, nice neat package, and we throw it to the side. Versus, let me open up this box, let me be real with myself, and let's talk real talk. So by me having to open up this box in this dark space, playing in the dark, let me figure out what's going on in my hidden consciousness. Then things started coming out to light that I talked about in my journal. Something else that I wrote in my journal was that there is, in the unknown house that I had walked into in my dream, me and this male presence had walked into the basement. The basement represents your subconscious mind, your hidden fears. And I could tell when I was going through the house or in this basement that it was a little bit of clutter. It wasn't like stacked clutter like Porter, but it was like cluttered in little pieces. It was nicely neat clutter. And that's how I see my thoughts. Like I have things in my thoughts that are nicely, neatly tucked away in certain places that I didn't really clear. I just pushed to the side. So now it's time for me to, like my dream or the ancestors was telling me, it's time to clean up some of this. The male presence in my dream represents that glory, that honor of self, that stability, that structure, that, let's be real with self. You know what I'm saying? That male energy within myself that I know everybody has male and female energies in each individual. So the dream is telling me that I need to honor who I am, honor those hidden feelings that I had, that I pushed to the side, honor, and glorify my pains. I used to, something else that I have in my journal, I used to feel some type of way in my past. In my college years, I had this incident where, yes, witness the body, Johnny. In my college years, I had this incident where I had got raped. A lot of people, a lot of females more often than not get raped once in their life. So when that happened, I had fell into a place of I blamed it on myself because I shouldn't have been in the predicament where I was in the first place. I felt like, I was to blame for that. Then after that, it was like everything else. My whole self-esteem, self-value, self-structure hit rock bottom. So I went from, that incident to now I am doing things that I wouldn't normally do on a normal basis. You know what I'm saying? Like doing stupid stuff. Young and dumb. I already felt low, so let me just go all full throttle with it. It is what it is. That was my mindset. I noticed that the more I stayed in that mindset, the further deep I got into the hole. The more darkness I felt. The more I felt like I had to blame myself because that was my way of taking responsibility for my actions. Lo and behold, as I was talking to my fiance today while he's at work, he's been at work all day, y'all. But my ass being worse than hell. Has been texting him, was texting him all day. And he was letting me know that I am victimizing myself. One thing that I cannot stand is somebody playing the victim card. I hate when people play the victim card. So when he initially said that, I was like, what the fuck? How is it that I'm victimizing myself? I'm taking the blame for my own, traumas, my own issues, blah, blah, blah. However, lo and behold, after I went back and thought about it, taking the blame still in my own psyche, I was still playing the victim to self. I had become my own side chick, if that makes sense. Trying to please everybody else to make up for trying to appreciate myself, if I make a sense. Like a distraction, just like you have media distracting you, music distracting you, all these different things that distract us from what's actually going on in our true psyches of mind. Like we don't want to talk about what really need to be talked about. We rather cover that shit up like it ain't there when it's still there. So the more I realize that, you know what, babe, you might be right. You might be right, my nigga. I am playing the blame game, but I'm playing it to myself. I have placed myself in that side chick category to the point where, I was going outside of myself to distract myself from myself. I was getting in other people's dramas, so to say, things that ain't had nothing to do with me. But I was jumping into their nonsense, trying to heal them, when at the end of the day, that ain't had nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? Those who look for healing will come to you. I was feeling like I needed to prove something to somebody else. So I was doing that by talking to other people, trying to get people to heal, trying to get them to, see me. But if they can't see me, that's not my problem. That ain't my ordeal. That's when I started learning to grow. Just like my dream was trying to show me. The familiar house that my dream had brought to my consciousness. That is the house that I portrayed to everyone else. I had these letters on my door. I thought that it was like, an eviction letter type notice. That's what I initially thought. And then I realized that wasn't what it was in my dream. So letters initially means something type of law and some type of order. Whenever you get a letter on your door, it's some type of thing that they automatically expect you to follow, right? Like I said, house represents that sense of self. So by these letters being on my door, it was symbolism for, there's a certain type of law and order within gaining another level of my consciousness of self, if I'm making sense to y'all. I wouldn't have been able to understand that had I not stood outside of myself to observe and witness what my body and my attachments were, right? So it was like once you get over your shortcomings and you get over the attachments, these getting over the pain, the emotion, because emotion is what is holding a lot of us back, holding us a lot of us down, what's keeping us subconsciously in the dark versus letting that kundalini rise and bringing some lightness into that dark. Another thing that Phil Valentine was talking about in the video that I was watching is that those places where there is darkness within, you need to bring some of that light in there. Where you have goodness over here or light right here, but your darkness is over here, you need to trickle down some of that light over here into this dark space. Therefore, it makes more of a light body. We're going into a golden age. Golden age being where it's going to be a lot of light bodies running around here. That essence, that aura, that energy, that let's get on the grind, let's move, look, we've got to make the world a better place type of shit. It's about that era is about here. You can't get there and cross over if you haven't dealt and healed your darkness. So that's what I was saying as far as dancing in the dark, dancing with your emotions, being able to logically, on a logical, spiritual basis, shut down the attachments of your emotions to shit that don't matter. You know what I'm saying? My past traumas, my past pain, that shit don't matter. It was the past. Let it go. Becoming forward to that realization. I had called my fiance because I was like, why is it I can't relax? And then even in my dream, it showed that in this unfamiliar house, that remember, house being that sense of self. In my dream, when I was going into the basement and the male presence was with me, we was smiling, we was laughing. He was like, look at all this mess. Pretty much, look at all this mess that you are carrying around. Then we walk up the stairs, and when you walk up the stairs to another elevation, that's another level and another growth. Trying to get to that higher consciousness of mind. So when I got up there, it was like more airy, more free, more relaxed. My dream is telling me how to be relaxed. You know what I'm saying? The ancestors, the visions, the universe are giving me my answers. It's up to me to listen to my answers, to observe what my dreams are, to observe everything. Everything happens for a reason. When I see different things like animals or something that I wouldn't normally see, like I used to see before, like the middle of last year, I used to always see this one spider that I've never seen before. But now, that particular time, it was always sitting outside of my window. And when I looked, I would just look at it. And it was like literally looking at me back type shit. Just standing there like, what up? And I used to see these, there was this 2 dragonflies that was like standing outside on, my clothesline or whatever. And the closer I got, it just sat there. These are the universe talking to us, right? Talking to your spiritual self. Dragonflies and the spider represents change, represents a drastic change at that. Then I started seeing crows that would just sit outside my house, and they were sitting on the light, not the light pole, the little cable thing that goes across. There was just 3 of them sitting right there looking at me. And it would seem like it's crazy. However, the crows are literally sitting up there and they're looking at my spiritual self. Crows represent death. They represent good luck. They represent a transformation. Just same thing like the dragonfly. Same thing like the spider that was, sitting outside my window. Then once it came to things started to change. Like I had got a trying to be there for somebody else. I ended up getting into some trouble with the law, right? That was that drastic change that the universe was trying to tell me, right? Through these animals and through these beings and things like that. Telling me that something drastic would have to happen to me in order for me to get the picture. Clearly, because I didn't want to get the picture and do what I needed to do, something had to happen in order for me to get in that realm. So I got in trouble with the law. Now I had to get into my zone. It was actually a DWI, right? The second one that I got, and this was because I was trying to do something again for somebody else. I had already told them, I ain't trying to drive, I don't need to be doing all that, et cetera, et cetera. But then my ego was like, for that appreciation, for that love, girl, you're going to have to go out there, showing that you're a true friend, showing that you're always there type shit. So I go and I do this, and then lo and behold, there is a traffic stop. And they're checking people's cars and shit. Now, I thought I was taking the back road. Clearly, that was not the route. So, I'm getting there, and then it's like, I had to go to downtown and get all up in that thing, all the other stuff. So, all being said, out of all of that, I have to, serve, a little 7 days in jail, type shit, and had to get 18 months probation. However, if I was to stay attached to the foolishness, I wouldn't have learned what I learned right now. Learn how to be that bigger person, that better person. Time to move on to the next level. It's time to grow up, okay? That's pretty much what the ancestors are saying. Pretty much what the universe is telling me. It's time to grow up. You can't bend backwards for people who mean you no good. That same person who I was going to help and pick up from work that night has disappeared off the face of the earth. Universe telling me that's another quote unquote friend or associate that served you no well, just brought more drama to your life. Same thing that I was with in two other friends that I was bending backwards over for. My neighbor being one of them. She didn't have a car, all this other stuff. So because I wasn't working at the time and all my bills was paid up, I was taking her every day to get to school so she can graduate. Taking care of her son while she was gone because she didn't have nobody to do it for her. Then my other friend who she didn't have a place to stay or live at the moment, so I let her stay and live with me for like 6 months, rent-free, right? Then it came to be that at the end of the day, the two of them were talking shit behind my back. Mind you, okay, I'm a blunt person. I'm a blunt person. I'm an honest person. I will let somebody know what I feel about them, hands down. I will let them know when, hey, look, I feel like I'm wasting time with you because, I feel something's off. And I had caught both of them in a lie, right? And it just keeps going back to you can't bend backwards for people or quote unquote friends or acquaintances that will smile in your face. However, they're just sucking the life out of you, sucking the energy out of you. Bending backwards for people like that will get you nowhere. So now that I'm in this period of stillness that, again, Phil Valentine was talking about, since I wasn't getting the picture on my own and the universe forced it upon me, now I am in this time of stillness where I got time to sit and think about everything, observe everything about my lifespan. Thanks to my fiance, he's, been doing his part as far as, the mail of the house, et cetera, et cetera. One thing that I also used to blame myself about is having my son out of wedlock or having my son with someone who was not on the same plateau or the same growth as me. He wants nothing to do with Zai. Zai's my son. He wanted nothing to do with him, et cetera, et cetera. So I used to blame myself like, how would my son, when he gets older, will he blame me? Will he fault me? Am I not doing enough? Stuff like that. All that shit was going in my mind, the negative shit. But since my fiance has come into the picture, he's helped me regain pieces of myself, of not blaming myself over dumb shit. Again, shit that don't matter. I love him to death, to life, correction, because anybody got time for that death shit. It's to be reborn. So we trying to do this shit to life. You know what I'm saying? So I love him to the point where, he has taken it upon himself to adopt my son as his own. He didn't have to do that, but he chose to do that. And to me, that strong sense of Black love. That is that love of no matter what you've gone through, we can get through it. Through hell, high waters, through the good times, through the bad. We're gonna help each other heal. We're gonna grow with each other. We're gonna see each other in each other. My twin flame, so to say. If it wasn't for me going through that time of pain to get to this time of stillness, I wouldn't have found him. Because I was finally fed up with the bullshit to where I had got rid of my last Facebook, because that's where all the ratchet folks that I was dealing with was on there. I had to totally get rid of that. I had made up in my mind I only want to be associated with like-minded people. That's it. I ain't got time for shit up. The only thing I want to have time for is like-minded souls. So by having made up that in my mind, then like-minded people started to approach me. In a month time, I had came up with a business for myself, which is counseling and helping people to heal. But I couldn't help other people heal if I had not healed. In that same month time, I was able to write a book and get it published by myself. By myself, I did it. I have a business name that is now legalized and whatever for my own business. I'm getting things together to where I can get it expanded and bring more life into it. But I wouldn't be able to have done it if I was not still enough to think about and focus on me. Because again, like I said, I had become my own side chick. So if I hadn't got my mind frame out of that, I would still be stuck, still putting other people before me. Them days is over. And I feel like for a lot of people out there in the world, it needs to be the same way. That shit is over. Time up. We got to dust our shoulders, our hands off from people, like I said, that serve us no purpose. From thoughts that serve us no purpose. Letting go of the emotional attachments to things that serve no purpose. I always tell my sister, or my best friend that I've known since I was 8 years old, I always tell her that emotions, unseen emotions, don't exist in the physical realm, in this physical world. When people are angry with somebody else, you're angry with that person because of perception or a feeling that you felt from that person, a emotional attachment that you felt with that person. However, if you canceled out that emotional attachment with whomever it is, even with yourself and your past ordeals and failures, you can overcome any situation. Any situation becomes easier. Any situation becomes lighter, becomes more relaxed. Then you're able to zone and see more of what needs to happen. I always say Ubuntu, right? Ubuntu is that significance that one of the African tribes of the Zulu nation would always say for the meaning and symbolism of humanity, right? I am because we are. I wouldn't be the spiritual form in this human being if it wasn't for everybody else in this world. We are all connected through spirit, through energy. These physical bodies, like I said in my last video last night, these physical bodies and this face that you see in me is not who I am. I am a light being, a light force, a energy. When I was younger, my grandmother used to always tell me, when you look in the mirror, that's not who you are. At that point in time, when I was younger, I was like, what does that mean? It don't really make sense. And I would always be like, well, what am I then? But then the more I question, the more I see. So with that being said, by me being who I am, because you all are who you are and vice versa, we are all connected as a human race in this physical form. That means we shouldn't be arguing over dumb shit with each other because of emotional attachments. It's time to cut that loose. In the golden age, the golden race does not waste time on meaningless emotions, meaningless attachments, things that bring your aura and your energy down. We got no room for that. We have to relax. We have to be one with each other. And in order to do that, you have to be one with yourself. A lot of these people and a lot of folks out here in this world, the only reason why y'all are targeting somebody else is because you're mad with yourself, because you blamed yourself for a lot of shit. If you was to get out of that mindset, quit blaming yourself over dumb shit, get over the meaningless emotional attachments, you wouldn't be mad at the next man, because you would understand that that man is going through trauma just as much as you are. What are you mad about? What are you frustrated about? What is the ignorance about? Ignorance and stupidity will keep us in a low frequency. It will always keep us in a low frequency. That's why they say love conquers all. Love is the empowerment of all. That is how you conquer everything. Love conquers fear. Love will get us out of these dumb situations that we in. Love is what's going to bring back the golden age. Okay? That means loving everyone. Black, white, Asian, green, purple, gay, all these people. Your sexual preference ain't got nothing to do with me. Okay? Your sexuality, that ain't got nothing to do with me. That is an emotional attachment, baby. I ain't got nothing to do with that. You's a being. Okay? You want to live your life how you want to live your life, live it. Now, when people come to me and they're seeking advice and they're seeking counsel, I will give them that counsel. But if you're not seeking it, I'm not sticking myself in your drama. I've got to focus on me. By focusing on my self-love, by focusing on eating right, by focusing on my family, by focusing on what I need to do, in turn will make everybody else who is around me see what I'm doing, and indirectly that their subconscious will pick up the same energy that I'm doing. I've noticed it with my mom, with my brothers, with my friends. The more I get deeper into focusing on myself, I see them picking up little nicks and crannies and following suit to certain things that I do to better myself. I see them bettering themselves, and they're teaching people around them. It's a trickle-down effect. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like that is what is important to be heard. I keep hearing Oshun's energy in my head saying, this is what has to be said. Love, love, love. She is the mother of love. You know what I'm saying? The cultivator. One of the creators. People are missing that love factor today and wondering why they are constantly going into the same BS. They can't be relaxed. They can't trust themselves with themselves, let alone with somebody else in any other frequency or vibration. The reason why you can't love the lower vibrations in somebody else is because you can't love the lower vibrations in yourself. And that's the reason why we are doing this dance. This 360 degrees of death versus the 720 of spiral formation moving forward in growth. That's what you have to do when it comes to getting ready for this golden age. Moving with the formation, spiraling yourself, understanding the situation, and moving forward. The more I move forward with my life, the more the universe and life is bringing things to me. Law of attraction. That is real. That shit is real. Being more positive about yourself. Like I said, we got to get with the shits. From in my book, there's this book called Emotions versus Logic that I wanted to read real quick. And then after that, I'm about to be done with this video. So I hope y'all, enjoy. Okay, emotions versus logic. Sometimes I feel as though there is no way out, trapped in a place where my heart and my mind catastrophically shuts down, doomed to refuse the irrefutable authenticity of realization amongst my sensitivity and vision of sanity. Our modern dynasty has lost its touch of true reality, not connected with the world's inner chi, in turn creating false ideas of what the energy and motion has manifested through emotion should be. Knowing that our coexistence is dependent on our logical instincts, we as the human race undoubtedly must become one with each other initially. To balance emotions with logistics or syllogistics will in turn create the equivalence of the perfected imperfect. Modern anthropomorphic union amongst all races of beings amongst this planet in the universe. Anticipating and wishing to be set free, to have someone or something rescue me, knowing the world as I see can cause the lucid to sound as though they speak nothing but insanities. Knowing that my antics are valid to my jubilated energy, I've learned to become less fearful and less weak, no longer tormented by my mind's own sympathy, so to speak. A logical lesson that I cultivated from my life's studious instructions, that balancing my mind with the logic of my heart has made me emotionally sound and perfectly me, causing those around me to become less irritating and less vexing to see. Managing my disposition of the heart has become the way I've gained my control, manifesting a humble mind and meek leniency for those mentally light years apart from me, and correlating the two polarities. It's tough to reinforce the knowledge of awareness if selfishness is blinding the person's humaneness, which is why empathy and understanding is the correct way to perfectly equate emotions to nature's logical potion and notion. At times, this path is a lonely road, but then what in this physical world is actually easy? Since it's worth the knowledge, the journey tends to become a path that you have to learn to bend, fighting through many obstacles to find peace within. All that saying that by finding the peace within, I have to fight against the torment and the darkness and dance with that darkness. Dance with that death inside. Dance with that thing gracefully at that. Dancing with death and dancing with grace, gracefully to the point where it's no worries. Just relax, baby. Be easy and go with the flow. By doing that, everything else smooths itself out. And that is how we gain our relaxation. That is how we gain our love of self. And that is how we gain the love towards everyone else. And with that being said, I hope that all of you all enjoyed what I had to say tonight in Ubuntu. I will see y'all on my next live video. I don't know when I'll do it, but I'll post it up there on Facebook so you can see. If y'all haven't joined yet to my YouTube channel, please do. I have it on my Facebook page, Minotione Akaretara, that spiritual advisor. By all means, check me out and subscribe, like, and share. Oh, my book, y'all, Affairs of the Heart, also lulu.com. I do tarot readings, natal charts, counsel, all of that is what I do when it comes to my business. So by all means, inbox me if you're trying to grow, trying to learn, and trying to get ready for this golden age. Love y'all. Ubuntu.